Solo Leveling, Ragnarok. By Dang Du. Chapter 41. Payu Field. Access restricted to Fiend Guild members only. Is this the place? Han Jae-hyuk arrived at the Payu Field with his team members in tow. Glancing at the sky, the weather was surprisingly pleasant. An expansive, tranquil plain stretched out before them. Once known as the Payu Industrial Zone, this place had become a desolate and forsaken area due to dungeon breaks disrupting people's lives. The reason they were here was due to Baek Miho. The vice guild master of the White Tiger Guild had abruptly visited the association with her team the night before. She claimed to have captured a hyena guild member at the Magok Field and brought him in. It was a gift from nowhere for Jae-hyuk and his team, having been investigating the factories for several weeks. The team interrogated the former member and extracted significant information. So, the vice guild leader of the Fiend Guild, Lee Min-sung, has secretly established a facility called the Stardust Research Lab. However, the problem was that the location of the laboratory was unknown to the former Hyena Guild member. Situations like this required legwork, and a lot of it. Knowing that blue mist was crucial for Stardust production, their focus narrowed down to two factors. The location had to be discreet and be a dungeon owned by the Fiend Guild. The Hunter Association's hunters had been scattered across the Greater Seoul area since this morning, systematically searching through the dungeons controlled by the Fiend Guild. "Sir." One of Jae-hyuk's team members approached him after getting off the phone with the Situation Room back at headquarters. "I'd say this field-type dungeon is our best lead. Our sources say that Lee Min-sung voluntarily offered to manage the Payu Field." Jae-hyuk stared into the expanse beyond the barbed wire fence that restricted civilian access. In the distance, aging warehouses filled with shipping containers were shrouded in blue mist. Well, he couldn't have found a better location. Team leader Han Jae-hyuk clicked his tongue, evidently displeased. The Payu Field's proximity to the bustling capital made it convenient for abducting people. It was also an excellent place for harvesting blue mist away from the eyes of the public. The existing container buildings within the field could easily be converted into labs, which made the field an ideal location for constructing a new factory. After much consideration, the team was confident that this had to be the nefarious site they were looking for. Jae-hyuk immediately reached for his shield. "We're going in." "What? Just us? What about reinforcements? We need evidence before making a backup request. We don't want to act on false information. We should at least take a few photos before calling for support." "Yes, understood." Jae-hyuk led a group of 5 hunters inside the Payu Field's enclosure. They eventually found the cluster of container buildings that stood closely packed inside the former Payu Industrial Zone. Many hunters were roaming around its vicinity. The association's hunters exchanged glances. There was no reason for so many hunters to gather in a field-type dungeon after the initial raid. According to our investigation, Lee Min-sung has been secretly building an army of his own behind the guild master's back. There seems to be an internal power struggle between him and Lim Tae-jae. So, this is their hideout. Jae-hyuk pointed at the largest building among the towers of containers and said, "Request immediate reinforcement." "Understood. And we're going in." "Pardon?" "I just heard someone scream from within." Han Jae-hyuk clenched his teeth. It seems like there are civilians trapped inside. He and his team had feared for the worst. It appeared that the fiendish vice guild master had already gathered the ingredients for Stardust. Stardust Research Lab. Container Building A. Oh Seonju, Min Byung-gu's wife, was shivering in a cold, desolate prison. "Why am I here?" She found the situation confusing and frightening. She was on her way to work as usual before she suddenly lost consciousness. She found herself trapped in an unfamiliar prison when she woke up. She couldn't understand how or why this had happened. But she deduced that there were too many oddities for it to be a simple kidnapping for ransom. There were too many people moving around outside the prison, and they all had their faces fully exposed. The fact that they're showing their faces means that they don't have any intention of letting us go in the first place. That realization made her even more terrified. Inside the prison were 9 others who had been captured just like her. "Mom!" a boy cried. "They even kidnapped a child." Seonju's gaze shifted toward the trembling young boy across from her. The child looked no older than a kindergartner. He was curled up and sobbing quietly. The crying seemed to be bothering their captors as one of them passing by suddenly shouted at the boy. "Hey, quiet down. I told you to stop crying." Seonju was shocked by what had happened and instinctively covered her mouth. The man had simply shouted, but the boy's body was sent flying backward with a loud crash as if he had been kicked with full force. "Is that a hunter skill?" She was astonished to find that their captors were hunters. Why would hunters abduct civilians like us? What on earth is going on? Seonju collected herself before urgently approaching the boy, huddled in the corner, to check on his condition. "It hurts." The boy clutched his stomach in pain and twisted on the ground. He was afraid of getting hit again, but he couldn't help but desperately bite his lips and let tears flow freely. Seonju held the trembling boy in her arms, knowing there was nothing more she could do. But then something startling occurred, and her eyes widened in surprise. In the distant corner, she noticed that the light refracted the shaded space peculiarly. The refraction was subtle, not readily noticeable without close examination, but once it was recognized, it was remarkably strange. Suddenly, the transparent emptiness before her peeled back as if a curtain had been pulled, and a burly man's face emerged from thin air. Seonju's eyes widened in astonishment. The man quietly placed a finger in front of his mouth as if to say "be quiet." She immediately held her breath, instinctively understanding why the man was there. Hunters Association. Rescue. Act normal. She read the words from his lips and felt as if he were whispering in her ear. Startled, Seonju blinked her eyes rapidly to signal her understanding. "I'll be quiet." The man's face disappeared, and the oddly refracted space slowly began to approach the prison trapping the hostages. Huh. With only 5 people, this is basically a suicide mission. Han Jae-hyuk let out a short sigh as he moved forward with his team using a concealment skill. He knew that they couldn't sit and wait for reinforcements to arrive given the urgency of the situation. Civilians were exposed to the blue mist, which they could inhale and turn into mist burns. It wasn't a question of if but when. They had to evacuate the civilians from the field as quickly as possible. Everything will be fine as long as the plan goes smoothly. Getting out of the building would be a success. There are plenty of hiding places outside. Jae-hyuk's plan was simple: quietly unlock the prison door, envelop the hostages with his concealment skill, and then take advantage of the distraction one of his team members created in the distance and escape. Eventually, his hefty hand reached the prison door's lock and managed to unlock the door by crushing it with his bare hands. "Great! We did it. You think you're clever, don't you?" A sinister voice echoed from behind. "Damn it. We've been caught." Boom. An enormous explosion engulfed them in an instant, and the concealment skill was dispelled simultaneously. Jae-hyuk, having barely managed to block the attack, shouted urgently to his team, "Rats. It's time for Plan B." "But we don't have a Plan B." "I don't know. Just hold on somehow." Suddenly, a battle began. "There are only 5 of them." "Kill them all," the sinister man shouted. Dozens of hunters from the research facility launched an attack. Bam! "Everyone, get behind me." Jae-hyuk raised a massive steel shield, large enough to cover half of his body, with both hands. Iron wall defense. He created a colossal barrier, desperately holding on against the incoming barrage that came from all directions. "Hold on a little longer. Reinforcements will arrive soon." The team leader had intentionally emphasized the point of reinforcements so that their opponents could hear, hoping that they would be scared and retreat. But the miracle he hoped for didn't occur. "Hey," the sinister voice from before called out again, "stop using that skill." Startled, his team turned to the source of the voice. A man with a serpent-like demeanor was clutching the throat of a child who couldn't have been older than a kindergartner. "You unbelievable. The association's hunters were shocked by the cruelty. Jae-hyuk immediately recognized him. Park Jong-chul. Park Jong-chul was a C-rank hunter known for his cruelty even within the Fiend Guild. Didn't you hear me? Deactivate that damn shield skill right now, you be asterisk stards. The sinister hunter grinned even more viciously as he lifted the child with his hand. The boy squirmed in his grip as if he were about to die at any moment. No, please. He's just a little boy, damn it, one of the association's hunters cried out in desperation. However, releasing the shield as he demanded was essentially a death sentence for the team. Jong-chul decided to take matters into his own hands by capitalizing on their moment of indecision and despair. What's this? The shield is still up. Will it stay up even if I do this? His massive hand slapped the child's face without hesitation. Blood sprayed from the boy's mouth as his head was swayed from side to side. That crazy bee asterisk starred. The eyes of the association's hunters fumed with anger. However, Park Jong-chul didn't stop. Huh? It's still up. I guess I have no choice but to continue. Stop. I've deactivated the shield. Eventually, Jae-hyuk had no choice but to put down his iron wall defense. Just then, out of nowhere, a flying knife severed Jong-chul's arm holding the child. What the hell? The others around Jong-chul screamed first before blood gushed like a fountain from his severed arm as the pain arrived a beat later. A desperate scream replaced Park Jong-chul's snake-like smile. Arg! Who is it? Who dares to? He was interrupted by another strike. This time, it was his leg that was severed. He writhed around like a wounded animal, crying out in agony. Ahawk! My leg! Screaming and thrashing on the ground, the cruel Fiend Guild hunter was a pitiful sight. A man wearing a crow mask came down from the shadows and stood over him before taking the child. Who is that? All eyes at the research facility were focused on him. Those deserving death shall receive it without question. The cold indifference of the crow-masked figure's voice as he delivered a death sentence on Jong-chul made everyone shudder. Chapter 42. I see some guests have arrived before me. Suho checked for the hostages as soon as he appeared, swiftly scanning the people staring at him. After Baru read Secretary Kim's memories, Suho immediately made his way to the Stardust Research Lab, only to find that a fierce battle was underway. 10 hostages and around 30 hunters. The hunters twitched whenever Suho's gaze landed on them. It felt as though the air around them froze, especially due to his shocking entrance. Ugh. Jong-chul's groan broke the silence as he lay on the ground like a bug with severed limbs. Ugh. What are you doing, you be asterisk stards? Don't just stand there like idiots, fight. Fight, damn it. His outburst snapped the Fiend Guild's hunters out of their lull. That's right. He's only one person. Everyone, charge. Aya. The attacks aimed at the association's hunters were redirected towards Suho's battle of 30 against 1. Given that the minimum number of individuals in an assault team was 10, a total of 3 combat teams were converging on Suho to take him down. However, he had no intention of meekly surrendering. Suho raised his head briefly to look at the ceiling. Ruler's authority. An unseen hand shattered the ceiling's fluorescent lights one by one. What's happening? As the sudden blackout descended, the hunters attacking Suho hastily halted their steps. Their vision suddenly plunged into complete darkness, and it took some time for their eyes to adjust to their obscured vision. I don't need the light though. Suho immediately soared through the darkness. He had donned the crow mask for this precise reason: night vision. Swish. Slash. Screams erupted from all corners of the pitch-dark laboratory. Be careful. The B asterisk starts attacking. Ack. In an instant, the 5 Fiend Guild hunters were drenched in blood, grimacing in pain. We need light. Swoosh. At that moment, someone conjured a fireball that illuminated the surroundings. However, Suho had already vanished from that spot. The enemy hunters' hearts sank as they looked around in disbelief. Find him immediately. This laboratory was Li Minsung's cherished hideout. More importantly, the failure to protect the lab against a single intruder would be a terrible stain on the formidable Fiend Guild's reputation. Healers, attend to the wounded immediately. Everyone, stay close and fight together. Despite the chaotic circumstances, the Fiend Guild hunters moved cohesively as a team. In their eyes, the enemy was vastly outnumbered and they only had to focus on individual takedowns. It was certainly an advantageous battle for them. Fireballs continued to appear, pushing back the darkness. However, you are already my prey. Suho's eyes gleamed through the darkness. Rise. A giant shadow appeared behind Suho. Its 8 legs extended in all directions as it revealed itself, rising from the ground. Arachne Level 1. Elite Night Grade. The shadow creature was the size of a house with dozens of eyes, a gruesome mouth, and a pair of massive pincers. The giant tomb spider captured in Magok Field had returned as a shadow spider called Arachne. Shriek. Black spider silk spread in all directions, clinging to the walls and ceiling. The shadow spider had begun transforming the entire container building into a giant spider's nest. What's going on? What is this sticky substance? The hunters weren't exempt from the reaches of Arachne's web. Arachne activated the skill, puppetry. Huh? My body's moving on its own. Ugh. Why me? In an instant, a trapped hunter's arm involuntarily moved and stabbed a nearby comrade. Huh? The hunter who had become a puppet flailed his arms in great confusion as he witnessed his comrade bleeding and falling. No. It's not me doing this. This sticky string is taking control of my body. However, his body had already found another victim, and he swung his sword involuntarily once more. What are you doing, you be *starred? Why are you suddenly attacking your own guild members? It's not me. I'm not the one moving. And that was just the beginning. Arachne activated the skill, puppetry. Arachne activated the skill, puppetry. Ah. I'm caught too. Aahawk. Everyone, spread out. No, don't spread out. That's what the **starred want us to do. F***ck, what are we supposed to do? Dozens of hunters began swinging their swords at each other without hesitation. It was true pandemonium in every sense of the word. Cut those damn strings. Don't play into his trap. Low-grade healing potion has been purchased. Meanwhile, Suho managed to buy a potion from a shop and fed it to the kid he was carrying, right into his mouth. Suho cursed the cruelty and the unbridled violence of the hunter who had inflicted so much pain on the little boy. His stern gaze lasered in on Jonchul, who was sprawled on the ground. Suddenly, a small shadow descended upon him. How dare you enrage the young monarch? Baru's hand firmly grasped the man's head. Huh? Park Jonchul widened his eyes in astonishment as his head was being forcibly lifted. The ant beast's jaw twisted open over his shaking eyes. You won't die easily, Baru warned. A silent scream petered out from Jonchul's mouth. Away from the action, the potion's effects began working, and the little boy's condition noticeably improved. Suho's gaze shifted back toward his enemies. Arachne. The giant spider responded to his call, turning to look at him as it fought the Fiend Guild hunters. Go after the healers first. The healers were top priority targets. Many healers on their side had bothersome passive skills in addition to their healing abilities. The reason why Suho had intentionally inflicted severe injuries on the hunters instead of killing them was so that he could draw out their healers. As a result, the healers were now moving frantically, generously channeling their mana to the wounded. Arachne immediately began to seek them out, looking to launch an attack on the healers. He's targeting the healers. Protect them. Let's rescue the other hostages during this opportunity, Suho thought as he turned toward the prison. Coincidentally, the association's hunters were already on the move toward the hostages. Their primary objective was to rescue the hostages, and while the opportunity to identify the crow was tempting, they rushed into the prison. The issue was that the members of the Fiend Guild had caught on to their plan. The raw materials are trying to escape. Stop them. Capture the hostages first. The enemy hunters surrounded the prison. Ugh. The association's hunters found themselves trapped in the prison with the hostages. However, things took an unexpected turn. Crash. What's happening? Just then, the door to the research lab creaked open. The reinforcement had arrived. But the reinforcements weren't from the Hunters Association but the Fiend Guild. Their hunters from another container building had heard the commotion and rushed over. Resigned to defeat, Jae-hyuk sighed as he witnessed them rush in. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead, and he muttered, "Can we make it out of here alive?" Of course. Startled by the unexpected answer, Han Jae-hyuk turned to look at the source. A crow-masked figure had silently approached them and stood outside the prison bars. The crow forcefully pried open the bars and handed over the child he had been carrying. What freakish strength! Han Jae-hyuk thought, bewildered by his incredible power, as he awkwardly accepted the child. Suho restored the bent iron bars to their original state and said, "This is actually for the better. Please focus on protecting the hostages for now. You can cover any attacks from the outside with your shield skill, right?" "Who are you?" Jae-hyuk was interrupted by a sudden movement outside the prison. Suddenly, black spider silk shot out and tied the prison door from the outside, ensuring that it wouldn't open from either side. The team leader looked at the masked figure in confusion. However, Suho had already turned his back and was calmly staring at the approaching enemies. "Just take a break here for a moment." His back was wide and sturdy. "Everything will be over soon." Suho slowly walked toward his onrushing enemies. It seemed that their numbers had doubled thanks to their reinforcements. Escaping without a conflict was always a possibility, but he wondered if these hunters deserved to be spared. After all, the corrupted Fiend Guild hunters were willing to kill fellow humans to secure their own safety. They aren't humans. They're monsters. Suho made a vow as he looked at the villains. "Today, I'm going to uproot the problem." Rakan said he is happy to see that the hunt will begin. "Divine intervention," Suho said. Inside the shadow dungeon, Gray suddenly began to float, gradually becoming translucent. "Grr? Huh? Are you turning into a spirit?" Essel immediately recognized what was happening and widened her eyes. The spirit body of Pet, Gray, has been bound to the shaman. Gray's spirit body ascended through Suho's shadow and melded with his summoner's body. Suho's hair turned into a radiant silver, and beastly energy surged throughout his entire body. What is that? The Fiend Guild hunters were terrified by Suho's sudden transformation. The association hunters inside the prison reacted with the same surprise. Wait. Could that be? The White Tiger Guilds. Rakan nodded with satisfaction at your transformation as a shaman. What is this power? Suho observed the wild energy coursing through his body. A magical, ethereal wind enveloped him. Let's see this shaman power you've been boasting about. Show me what you've got. Suho growled toward Rakan, surrendering himself to the surging energy. He roared like a beast and charged explosively toward his enemies. Ah! Han Jae-hyuk, seemingly entranced by the scene unfolding before him, unconsciously gulped. A memory was resurfacing in his mind. This is no ordinary transformation. He had once witnessed Baek Yunho, the guild master of the White Tiger Guild, in action from a distance. The aura coming from the crow-masked figure was nowhere near the level of the White Tiger's guild master. After all, Baek Yunho was a S-rank hunter. His indomitable presence was as massive as a mountain. The memory was terrifying enough to send shivers down his spine. But why is the memory of that day stuck in my head right now? Beast King Crow. Jae-hyuk uttered. Pardon? A fellow hunter asked, intrigued by the name. Why am I only thinking of it now? I read the article just the night before. The Crow Mask. Jae-hyuk was certain. The new Beast King. That's the guy. The fierce roar of a beast resonated within the Beast King Crow's heart as he and his massive spider mercilessly preyed on their victims. Chapter 43. Ding. skill, meta wind has been learned. In an instant, Suho dashed through the hunters as if he had wings. The wind, howling fiercely along his path, intensified his movements. Movement speed is temporarily increased by 30%. Attack speed is temporarily increased by 30%. Slash. Slash. Blood sprayed in the rushing wind, and screams erupted from various places. Rocken revels in this and chuckles. A battle of 50 against 1? An overwhelming numerical disadvantage? None of it was important with darkness on his side. Baru. Yes. Baru, responding immediately, soared through the air. With his short but robust claws, he ruthlessly slashed through the fireballs floating in the air, plunging the area into darkness once again. Damn it! Light them up again. Gritting their teeth, the hunters created the fireballs again. But Baru's claws extinguished the flames each time a new one was made. The flashes of light flickered without a moment's rest, and screams erupted from various places. Ah! My leg! He's here! Ugh! Suho's position rapidly changed with every flash, inevitably leaving behind one injured hunter after another. The healers rushed in to save them, but the black spider silk hanging above snatched their bodies in an instant and yanked them away. There are spiders, be careful. Arachne's massive pincer came crashing down mercilessly toward the hunter who stood there, and blood spewed from the hunter's mouth. The grisly ending resembled a scene from a horror movie. 12. Baru's antennae were constantly flicking in the air, keeping count of the foes the young monarch had vanquished. An overwhelming numerical disadvantage? That's no matter. All humans are bound to die. 13. No matter how strong they are, a stab to the heart will end them all the same. Ugh. 14. Cutting throats will do the trick, too. You can work around a human with a strong defense by killing the others off. If they attack, just rupture their spine. Run away. We have to get out of here. 15. The place was essentially Suho's hunting ground. A profound, paralyzing fear seemed to be consuming the minds of the Fiend Guild members, leaving them on the verge of losing their sanity. Rakan takes pride in the shaman's presence. Rakan advises to manage mana carefully in the divine possession state, as mana is continuously consumed. Meanwhile, the hunters from the association blankly observed the carnage unfold outside their prison cell. Close your eyes, a hunter said as he firmly covered the eyes and ears of the kindergartner he was holding. The hunters were astounded by what they were seeing. The masked figure's ruthless slaughter appeared alien and devoid of any semblance of mercy. Even though his enemies deserved death, there was no hint of compassion as he delivered it. Being hunters, they were well acquainted with bloodshed. It was their job to take lives if necessary. They seemed to be more butchers than hunters at times. But even they had more sympathy for the common man than the mass-killing figure before them was showing. He doesn't seem to hesitate at all when it comes to taking a life. What is with this guy? His ruthlessness might be due to beast transformation, Jaehuk stated with conviction as he listened to his team's murmurs. What? Can it do that? Beast transformation skills significantly enhance physical abilities, but at the same time, it maximizes animalistic instincts, making it very difficult to control the skill with the same rationality as normal. It's no wonder freak accidents occur with hunters using the skill. I see, a team member said, nodding in understanding. No, you fools. Baru, who had been eavesdropping on their conversation from a distance, chuckled. Our young monarch has always been accustomed to death. Even as a newborn. Death was a primal fear inherent in all living beings, but Suho had been able to freely traverse the world of the dead since infancy. Death was nothing more than a natural occurrence ever present by his side. His caregivers, who had raised him as a baby, were also soldiers of the dead. But above all, Suho had experienced his own death countless times. His father tested him repeatedly, intending to help him fully control and use the power of the Monarch of Shadows as required. Suho experienced death through his dreams until he was no longer afraid of it. He went beyond overcoming fear to the point where he came to handle death as an experience and a means to an end. As our Lord commanded it, Baru mumbled with a satisfied smile on his lips. What is going on? B-ranked hunter Kwok Deong, who was late to arrive at the research facility, couldn't believe the carnage unfolding inside the building. This doesn't make any sense. The intruder was just one person. The mana Deong sensed from the intruder was at most B-rank. It was nothing impressive and his skills weren't remarkable either. It's just an acceleration skill. The damage dealers should be sniping him down as the tankers cover them. But what's up with the giant spider he summoned? The intruder's skills were somewhat unusual. Nonetheless, the beast was only a C rank, and 2 assault units of the Fiend Guild should have been able to handle it quite comfortably. How can so many people be overwhelmed by just one guy? Deong decided to join the battle. Giant's armor. An armor of mana enveloped his body like an aura as he leaped high into the air. In the blink of an eye, Deong's size and weight doubled. His heavily armored body, wrapped in an aura of mana, shook the ground upon landing, causing the entire container building to tremble. Kwok Deong? The hunters fighting against Suho recoiled and turned back to look at him. Deong was one of the main tankers of the Fiend Guild. The reason he managed to secure a position in the guild's main force despite being only a B-rank hunter was his powerful transformation skill. Armored by his aura, he stood over 3 meters tall. His overwhelming physical presence and combat prowess were accompanied by an array of skills made him, without question, one of the main tankers of the Fiend Guild. Move aside, you insects. Charge. His mana-charged body shot forward like a cannonball, clearing a path. What? Kwok Deong. Wait a moment. Watch out. Deong's massive body charged forward like a rhinoceros, trampling over anyone in his path. He paid no heed to his subordinates bouncing off of him, scattering in all directions. He cared little about their lives. My target is... Suho effortlessly evaded his straightforward charge. However, Deong's real target wasn't him but the prison behind him. Hee. Gotcha! Deong exclaimed as his massive hands grasped the prison bars. He smiled and shouted with a sense of triumph, threatening Suho, "You! Stop right there, before I crush these hostages along with the cage." Creak! The prison bars looked as brittle as candy under his tremendous strength. "Everyone, gather around me!" Jae-hyuk shouted. He raised his iron wall defense to maximum power to cover himself and the panicking hostages. Deong found his reaction amusing and let out a mocking laugh. You think you can withstand my power? You're just a C-rank tanker. Crash. Grrrgh. Jae-hyuk, his eyes bloodshot, struggled to withstand Deong's strength. The gap between the C-rank tanker and his B-rank counterpart was evident. Despite doing his best to hold out, Jae-hyuk's knees buckled, looking like they could give away at any second. "What are you two doing without me?" Suho interjected. His expression was one of disbelief. Typical tankers. The higher their defense, the more competent tankers became in their abilities. Deong's body had doubled in size, and his arrogance knew no bounds. Suho unleashed his meta wind upon the arrogant hunter with great gusto. The attack had caught Deong off guard. What was that? Suddenly, he felt someone grabbing his hair, and his head cocked backward. A grinning Suho was now perched on his shoulder. "You're not the only big guy here. My fists are no joke either." His left hand gripped his hair, while his right fist was clenched as dark energy swirled around it. Skill, Smash has activated. It's time for you to get hit. Suho, grinning, brought down his massive fist on Deong's head without hesitation. Ugh. The impact of the blow left Deong spitting blood from his mouth as he fell forward. But Suho was acutely aware of the dangers of complacency. There wasn't a chance that this single blow on its own would pierce through the defense of a B-rank tanker. Suho immediately manifested 2 dual blades in his hands and mercilessly swung them at Deong's vulnerable back, as he was sprawled flat on the ground. Skill, Storm Slash has activated. That was the finishing blow. The light faded from the tanker's eyes, and his hulky frame began to shrink. The Fiend Guild hunters simultaneously dropped their weapons. Their will to resist had seemingly vanished, and they raised their hands with pale, defeated faces. We surrender. Now you decide to surrender? Baru knew better than anyone the risks of showing mercy to villains like them. His claws passed through them, slicing through their Achilles tendons. Ack. Ah. But we surrendered. True surrender only comes with death. Baru chuckled as he mocked them squirming on the ground and holding their ankles. Or one should at least ensure that the enemy is incapacitated and unable to be deployed again. Baru approached them with a sinister smile, and to their surprise, he healed them. He performed a weakened healing spell to conserve mana. It could have been mistaken for kindness, but he had haphazardly botched mending their injuries intentionally. Now your legs won't be completely healed, even if you find another healer. But I suppose you could always cut off the whole ankle and regenerate it. Shivering, the members of the Fiend Guild looked at the demon, no bigger than a fist, as he taunted them to the end. At that moment, numerous messages appeared before Suho. Quest, saving lives has been completed. Rescued, 10. Level up. Skill, the level of dual sword mastery has increased. Skill, the level of storm slash has increased. You've received rewards for completing the quest. Would you like to accept the rewards? Y/N. As Suho finished reading the messages, something caught his gaze as it shifted downward. A coin-sized light sparkled from De Jong's corpse. Could it be? It resembled light that emanated from mana stones held by magic beasts. But instead of a beast, a similar light was coming from the deceased tanker's body. Chapter 44. Suho reached out toward De Jong's heart, the source of the light. Runestone, Giant's armor, has been discovered. Would you like to acquire it? A runestone? It seemed that De Jong's skill had turned into a runestone. This had never happened to Suho before. Not to mention that it was the first among the numerous hunters he had killed before him. Confirm. Runestone, Giant's armor. Absorb the skill by breaking the runestone. Giant's armor, huh? It was the skill that had enlarged De Jong's physique. Selling the runestone could fetch millions, considering its value. But it would be a waste to sell it. I can always make money later. Suho's top priority was to become stronger. His status as an E-rank hunter didn't provide much income, but he had recently been re-evaluated as a C-rank hunter. Considering the substantial difference in income, selling the runestone seemed like a foolish choice. Excuse me. Mr. Crow, a voice suddenly called Suho from behind. Having managed to escape the prison, the association's hunters approached him hesitantly. Are you okay? They looked at Suho with faces mixed with fear and doubt. It was understandable, considering Suho had single-handedly annihilated over 50 members of the Fiend Guild and defeated De Jong with sheer strength. Having witnessed the brutal battle up close, they couldn't help but feel worried. Suho had aided them, but there was no guarantee that he was on their side. I have no intention of being hostile, so don't worry. You should go and arrest those people, Suho said. Oh. Ahem. The hunters turned their gaze away. Their faces were filled with awkwardness at Suho's words. Suho tucked the runestone into his pocket and proceeded to deactivate divine possession. In the state, his mana decreased by 1 every second. That was why he hadn't forgotten to take out mana potions during the fight earlier. Divine possession has been deactivated. The divine wind swirling around Suho's body subsided, and his silvery, bleached hair returned to its natural black hue. Pet, Gray has detached its spiritual body from the shaman. In an instant, the palm-sized puppy, or rather a wolf cub, hopped out of Suho's body. The sight left the hunters startled and shivering. They couldn't believe that a wolf had come out of his body. Of course. He's the Beast King. The King of Beasts. Gray looked bewildered as he landed on the ground. He had no idea why people were looking at him and wondered what was on their minds. The wolf cub twitched his nose and howled with a look of pride and courage. Rakan looks upon his descendant's impressive form with satisfaction. Ho ho. He's grown quite a bit now. Even Rakan's Fong seemed impressed by Gray, which made Suho chuckle softly. The reinforcements called by Han Janhyuk and his team finally arrived after everything was over. Hurry, come on you lot. The Fiend Guild members had surrendered their weapons and were being dragged out by the association's hunters. But why are you all limping like that? A hunter from the association asked. Meanwhile, Jae-hyuk released the hostages trapped in the prison and rushed them to the hospital since they could turn into mist burns at any moment. Once the area was secure, he and his began a thorough search, seizing and collecting every piece of evidence they could find from the research lab. Leave no stone unturned. I'll want to bring Lee Min-sun down today. Jae-hyuk was determined to bring the ringleader to justice. Suho was quite busy as well. The Fiend Guild hunters had dropped their weapons to the ground and left them there. He was excited by the prospect of selling the spoils of the battle for a significant profit. I do need to make money for potions. Surprisingly, Gray played a significant role in collecting them. The wolf cub sensed his master's intention and trotted toward the weapons with his short legs. He opened his tiny mouth and plucked out a weapon with a firm bite. A message for Suho popped up. Item, Flame Longsword has been found. Would you like to acquire it? Huh? Suho's eyes widened. Is this thanks to the pet system? I can acquire what Gray touches, even though I'm not near it. Acquire. Item, Flame Longsword has been acquired. The item was automatically transferred into his inventory. Suho couldn't help but smile. This should make things easier in the future. He had finally discovered the perfect role for the little wolf, an item gatherer. Suho patted Gray's head and said, "Well done, boy. Go on and bring me more." It was the first time Suho had praised Gray, leaving the young wolf confused and not knowing how to react. But strangely, his tail kept wagging back and forth. Crunch. Huh? Growling. Gray, overwhelmed with excitement, suddenly bit Suho's hand that had been patting him enthusiastically. All the while, his tail was swaying wildly. Let go, you. Suho trailed off as he looked at the wolf cub hanging from his hand. Rakan nods approvingly at the bravery of his descendant. Hee hee. Despite his young age, he's letting us know that he's of royal descent. Knock it off, you two, Rakan's Fong said. Anyway, go and fetch more. Suho removed Gray from his hand and sent him forward. The descendant of the Fong clan enthusiastically wagged his tail and walked around happily, chomping at every item he could find. Item, Sharp Eye Bow Gun has been found. Would you like to acquire it? Item, Black Battle Axe has been found. Would you like to acquire it? Item, Carbon Gauntlet has been found. Would you like to acquire it? Acquire. 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 Suho sold each item being pulled into his inventory from a distance through the shop interface. You have obtained 750 gold. You have obtained 1300 gold. You have obtained 900 gold. Great, that was a pretty substantial amount. This should cover potion expenses for a while. The days of struggling for gold and scraping together potions were now behind him. Suho considered buying new items with his new riches and began browsing the shop interface. Then he remembered something he had forgotten. I almost forgot about this. The following reward will be given. Reward, ability points +5. Suho invested all his ability points into his strength stat immediately as it was undoubtedly the most crucial attribute. From experience, he was certain that overwhelming strength and speed would continue to play a significant role in his leveling up progress. He could raise his other stats by using items. As he was engrossed in thought, Jae-hyuk approached him. Mr. Crow, if it's not too much trouble, may I have a word with you? The sincerity in his tone was somewhat dampened by the cheesy title. Suho looked at him awkwardly and answered, yes. Sure thing. Back at the Shadow Dungeon, Essel was left on her own after Gray was summoned by Suho. Could it be? Her eyes narrowed in on something in the distance. She suddenly noticed a strange presence from somewhere in the dungeon. Essel immediately leaped and moved toward it. The monochrome world was profoundly quiet and still. Its usual eerie silence had deepened after she had cleared out every goblin she could find, including the hidden ones. However, Essel could feel that a change was beginning to take shape in this silent world. She eventually stopped and looked ahead. The source of the disturbance was a sinister energy emanating from a dimensional rift. "It's a gate." Essel urgently raised her head and called out to Suho, "Sung Suho. Come back quickly. Now is not the time to be outside." Somehow, her voice transmitted beyond the shadow dungeon and into Suho's ears. "Sung Suho. There's a hole in your world." The telepathic-like signal prompted Suho to stop his conversation with Jae-hyuk. "Mr. Crow?" Jae-hyuk said as he observed the masked figure's unusual behavior. Suho locked eyes with him, the seriousness apparent on his face. "I have an urgent matter I must attend to. We can talk later." "What? Suddenly? How urgent can it be?" There was no time for explanations. Suho immediately turned and dashed out of the research facility. "Hey, wait. At least give me your contact information." Jae-hyuk called out in confusion as he left. He had no grounds to detain Suho since wasn't a criminal. He was the hero who had saved them. "We can offer you a reward." The team leader's words disappeared into the distance just as the chromasked vigilante had. But someone else was intrigued by the parting words. "Reward? That's an opportunity one can't miss." "Huh?" Baru abruptly leaned in and grabbed Jae-hyuk's collar. "What are you doing? Hand over the reward immediately. You have entered the shadow dungeon." Meanwhile, Suho appeared in front of Essel, and she immediately revealed what she had discovered. "What is this?" He gazed at the gate that had appeared before him. Red sand poured out endlessly from the torn dimensional rift, floating in the air as if it were about to engulf the entire world. Ding! An emergency quest has arrived. Just in time, a quest occurred. Emergency quest, Dimensional Breach. A dimensional breach has been detected. Travel through the connected gate and eliminate the cause of the dimensional breach. Seriously? You want me to go in there? Suho stared at the sand waterfall pouring through the gate with a look of astonishment. "Do I have to go inside that thing right now?" Essel was taken aback by his words and looked at him. "Do you think you can swim through sand? You'll be diving into your grave." After a momentary thought, Suho nodded. The fact that a quest appeared means that there must be a way to resolve it. A quest needed to be completed. Avoiding it wasn't an option. Arise. A massive shadow, Arachne, descended beside him in response to his call. "Are you good at digging?" The shadow spider raised one of her enormous pincers and let out a deep growl. Suho chuckled at her imposing appearance. "Maybe we could give it a try." With his decision set, he turned to face Essel. The lavender-haired demon took a few hesitant steps back, trembling instinctively, as she saw Suho's bright smile directed at her. "No, I'll wait here. Don't you want to eat meat?" You don't?" "Ugh." Essel was the only surviving demon noble and the eldest daughter of the Ragnarok clan. She wasn't accustomed to being bossed around but had little choice in the matter. Essel eventually closed her eyes in resignation and shouted, "Fine. Let's go." Suho smirked and turned toward the gate, pouring out sand like a waterfall. "Then, let's go in." Chapter 45. W8. Essel urgently called out to Suho. "You're not going in right now, are you? What's the point in waiting?" "That's nonsense," Essel said sternly as she pointed at the red sand pouring down from the gate. "Can't you feel the heat? You need the necessary protection, or you'll end up with more than just burns all over your body. You could suffocate from the heat and die." He could feel the scorching heat coming off the red sand by just standing next to it. It seemed that entering without any precautions would indeed be dangerous. Store. Suho opened the store window and selected an item. Item, Fire Demon's Necklace, has been purchased. Item, Fire Demon's Necklace. Acquisition difficulty, D. Type, accessory. A necklace imbued with the protection of a fire demon. Wearing it around your neck shields you from the heat. Suho casually hung the oddly shaped necklace around his neck. Item, Fire Demon's Necklace has been equipped. The necklace gradually turned transparent before disappearing completely. His body suddenly felt refreshed. The item had blocked the heat emanating from the red gate. Huh? Essel, who had been enthusiastically lecturing Suho, was left dumbfounded by the sudden change that had occurred. Hey, this is better than I thought. Satisfied, Suho purchased another necklace and handed it to Essel. Here. Oh. Thanks? The demon took the necklace absent-mindedly. Her face lit up due to the mysterious energy coming from the necklace. Fire Demon's Necklace? Where did you find such a treasure? Treasure? Yes, treasure. Items that are imbued with such protection are rarely known to non-demonkind. It seems like it might be from a clan that perished during the Monarch's War. Essel examined the necklace curiously and then casually wore it around her neck. She also felt a refreshing sensation, and her eyes widened in surprise. This is great. I wouldn't mind wearing this every day. This will protect me from being burned. Ahem. Having emphasized the danger of the red sand, Essel now felt embarrassed. Well, it's still just as dangerous. Fine. Since I've received such a nice gift for once, I'll teach you something useful in return. Something useful? Essel raised her hand toward the puzzled Suho. Situations like this call for mana. Whoosh. Waves of translucent energy rippled across Essel's hand. Now, like so. She covered her face with the energy as if it were a mask. It's like wearing a thin protective layer on your face. This will keep sand out of your eyes or mouth. You can also use this underwater. Oh? Suho was pleasantly surprised by the unexpected yet valuable skill. He had been looking for a helmet in the shop window, but now, he no longer needed one. Of course, the skill might be a bit challenging at first. The key is to keep the protective layer as thin as possible, which requires precise mana control. Let me demonstrate a few more times. Oh, I think I just did it, Suho said. I see. Essel watched him perfectly replicate the skill after just one demonstration, looking somewhat vexed. Why yes. That's it. Perfectly thin. Good job. He displayed perfect mana control. It took me years to make it that thin. This isn't fair. Ahem. Baru poked his head between them with a sly grin and said, It's amusing to see you get surprised by something as trivial as that. The young monarch has always been extraordinary. He flew before taking his first step on land. Did I ask you for a history lesson? Essel quipped. That's not all. He learned the Korean alphabet at the age of 5, addition and subtraction at 6. Take a break, chatterbox. Baru seemed to believe that Suho's childhood development was precocious, but it was actually on par with the average child. Once all the preparations were complete, Suho climbed onto Arachne's back with Essel. Fortunately, the spider's scales were as sturdy as armor yet comfortable enough for the journey ahead. Okay, let's go. Arachne began to ascend by sweeping away the sand pouring from the gate with her massive claws. The sound of her swiping echoed throughout the dungeon. Her method of excavation was rather unique. The spider used her enormous claws to make an opening while simultaneously shooting black spider silk to solidify the scattered sand. This process formed a tunnel in the shape of the falling grains of sand that Arachne could travel through. The falling sand above the tunnel would collapse the structure sooner than later, but it was durable enough to allow time for Arachne to move through it. Suho was impressed by the spider's method. Wow. Her true insect instincts are coming out. Well, she is an insect, Baru responded instead of Arachne, who couldn't speak. Screech. Her claws continued to dig with great industry. Arachne began to climb the sand waterfall with ease with Suho and Essel on her back. Baru, perched confidently on the spider's head, directed their path with a determined fist. Forward, spider ship. The historical drama buff had been engrossed lately in a series about Admiral Yi Sun-sin. They navigated through the sand for some time. Devoid of light, Suho felt like they were swimming aimlessly through a sea of darkness. But his plan remained unchanged. Keep going up no matter what. Following her summoner's command, Arachne continued to ascend vertically through the sand with more vigor. Just then, a strange feeling raced up Suho's spine. What's this? His senses alerted him with a tremendous warning. Overwhelmed by an intense sense of imminent danger, he instinctively yelled out, "Move to the side." Shriek. Arachne immediately changed direction. As they moved across, a huge insect burst through the tunnel wall created just moments ago. The thick and elongated creature rushed past them with tremendous force like a train. What is that? Essel was shocked beyond belief. The darkness was so dense that they couldn't discern what it was. Fortunately, Suho's eyes had managed to catch the system message revealing the identity of the insect. Venom-toothed sand centipede. It's a centipede. A centipede? Essel's complexion turned rapidly pale upon hearing the name. She wasn't afraid of bugs, but encountering a gigantic magic insect underground wasn't her idea of safety. Especially one so massive in size. Suho knew there was no time for further contemplation. Duck. As the word left his lips, Arachne began digging through the sand like a maniac to escape the creature's range. A shiver ran down Suho's spine as he heard the sound of moving sand approaching directly behind them. Move to the side. Shriek. Guided by his sense stat, Suho urgently directed Arachne's path, and narrowly evaded the gigantic subway-like centipede. Fortunately, the sand insect was too long to make rapid turns once it chose a direction. I shall try to block it. Baru rushed desperately toward the sand centipede and kicked it, but he only managed to bounce backward. It wasn't my best, but I still diverted it a little. No matter what, just go up. Up to the surface. Suho's call proved to be right. Eventually, Arachne successfully crawled through the red sand and emerged to the surface. Suho and Essel were immediately blinded by beams of sunlight, but their vision returned after a moment. Before them was an endless expanse of red desert. I guess we were in a desert this whole time, Suho said. I might have been roasted to death without the fire demon's necklace, Essel said. However, there was no time to let their guard down as a colossal column of sand shot up behind them. Arachne was pushed back by the intense pressure and tumbled over, taking Suho and Essel on her back with her. The two riders rolled over a few times on the sand before regaining their balance. Their eyes widened at the sight before them a giant centipede piercing through the sand. Venom-toothed sand centipede. The repulsive creature's two prominent fangs, each the size of a young child, poked out of its mouth. Just by looking at its name, Suho easily guessed what might happen if he was bit by it. The centipede's jaws snapped repeatedly like a shutter, exposing its fangs every time. It looks like it's working up its appetite, Essel said. The centipede's jaws opened wide as it swam across the sand to attack them. Run! Essel and Suho simultaneously shouted. They turned their backs and sprinted across the desert. The gigantic centipede raised waves of sand as it chased them. Gasping for breath, Essel bit her lip in frustration. If only my powers were intact. Her pride was wounded. She was a demon noble, but she was threatened by an unintelligent magic beast with nothing but its enormous size to boast. But now wasn't the time for her to cling on to her fragile pride. We're no match for that creature with our current strength. We must retreat to the world of shadows. Essel turned to Suho and shouted, "Shall we retreat?" However, Suho had somehow suddenly grown larger and was delivering an uppercut to the giant centipede's jaw. Skill, Giant's Armor, has activated. Suho had broken a runestone and learned a new skill. He used this skill to double his size and engage in hand-to-hand combat with the giant centipede. He repeatedly slammed his giant fists into the centipede's face and squeezed its thick neck with both arms, applying immense pressure. The centipede wriggled its long body in pain before trying to coil around Suho's body. The battle was a show of two immense powers. Good heavens! Essel was shocked by the ensuing battle between the enlarged Suho and the enormous monstrosity. When did he become this powerful? He wasn't this strong the day before. Ahem. This is our young monarchs. Baru was interrupted by another pillar of sand that emerged right in front of him. Oh, this is not good. Essel's face scrunched up at the sight. To make matters worse, the centipede was joined by 7 more as they rose out of nowhere and encircled them. Despite being surrounded, Suho remained unyielding. His cold gaze swept over each of them. Suho. His insurmountable fierceness made Essel tense up. How much have you grown? Suho nodded his head, as if he had come to an important realization, and turned around airily. Should we just run? Realizing everything was an act, Essel stared silently back at him.